Hi everyone, I'm Vania and I'm here recording one of my podcasts from my series Learn to Shine. I would like to give a little bit of an intro of why I'm doing this podcast, and this is because previous experiences and previous life journeys have brought me to think about that there is so much that people could be inspired from, and that's why I started this Learn to Shine program. Mainly, I'm speaking of different type of topics that are really going to boost your mindset, to help your personal growth and your personal development. And that's why I'm also having in specific series ad hoc guests that will be joining me on specific topics because they are experts. So today I would love to introduce Gemma.
Hello, how are you?
Thank you, very good. So thank you for being with me today. And I was just telling the audience that we are gonna speak about a very specific topic. And there is a specific reason why I've been picking Gemma. She is like my yoga guru, I would say. And that's why the main topic of today is gonna be around how you use yoga to release yourself and to rebalance yourself within your day-to-day life. So I would love now to give the word to Gemma so that she can introduce herself a little bit, and then we will continue with the rest of the topic.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me. Hi everyone, my name is Gemma. I'm from Manchester in the UK. Recently moved to Madrid. I have a full-time job outside of being a yoga teacher. Recently graduated as a yoga teacher last year in March. And yeah, since been teaching classes in Manchester and trying to establish a group within Madrid as well. So thank you.
Super, thank you, Gemma. And this really brings us to how we got to know each other. I think this is one of the main points in our life experiences really bring people together. So I'm really pleased to say that I was joining Gemma into a little yoga club that she has been creating here in Madrid. She was really trying to put together people, being new in the city. I think it's also one of the way that you can connect by bringing your essence, which of course is around yoga and teaching people and inspiring people with that practice. So that was really a good way of bringing us together. Do you want to share a little bit of the insights about the yoga club that you created actually?
Yeah, of course. Obviously I moved to Madrid, did not know anybody. And I thought, I used to have a weekly class in Manchester. I used to love teaching yoga. And I really wanted to combine meeting people with my passion for teaching as well. So I actually found this amazing Facebook group called Girl Gone International. So anybody in Madrid, or I think they have it in other cities, it's a great way to meet other people. They have different clubs and everything. I just posted on there, asked if anybody would be interested in doing yoga, had a huge response. And since then, I have a WhatsApp group, try to run them ad hoc on a bi-weekly basis, usually in the park. However, the weather has not been great recently. It's been a great way to meet new people, such as yourself.
Totally. And I mean, to be honest, we had some good summer session, right?
Yeah.
Now we're going to need to find a way for the winter.
Session. Yeah.
But yeah, very good. Okay, so, and again, the topic of today is gonna really dig a little bit about how Gemma has been approaching yoga and how we've been feeling about the practice of yoga. I think this is a very interesting topic to discuss because yoga itself is a practice that today also got very commercialized in a way, but the whole essence, the whole topic, the whole way of starting and approaching the practice is really giving you that particular balance, that particular way of feeling released by your day-to-day stress. And that's what we're going to discuss today. So I would really love now to hand over a little bit the word to Gemma so that she can tell how did she start and potentially how she decided that starting teaching, how does she feel about yoga, so that we can share some inspirations with them.
Sure. Okay, so how did I get started on yoga? I find it's a really difficult question because I remember doing yoga in school and attending classes with my sister or my mom. But at this point, I was very much just into the physical practice of yoga. Like, I was quite flexible, so I enjoyed that practice. I enjoyed doing the postures. And it was a lot about not showing off, but like, you know, it did feed my ego of like, okay, I'm already quite flexible. I'm good at this, you know. But then I didn't really put the two and two together of this is really helping me, my stress and my mind as well. And I think that only came about when I was going through quite a difficult situation. So just before COVID, I was having a really difficult time at work, a really difficult time with a relationship as well. And I was getting really anxious. I used to have anxiety attacks. I had no idea how to like regulate my nervous system. You know, I've been to the doctor and they just say, I'll put you on pills. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. So then I was like, okay, like started Googling things, what can I do? I kept going to yoga classes and I thought afterwards, but why do I feel so good after doing a yoga class? But anyway, I kept doing it. And then I thought, actually, I really want to know, like, what is the science behind this? Why do I feel so good? And that is the reason why I wanted to do my teacher training. To understand more, learn about it. I actually never thought that I would be a teacher. I did the training just to understand more about yoga and deepen my practice. And then throughout the course, I was like, actually, I really, really enjoy this. And I think just seeing how you inspire other people and you make other people feel after the practice is really special.
I completely agree. And to be honest, by hearing your story, I was feeling so connected also. Because I also started yoga actually in a very stressful time. Like I was approaching for the first time the practice during COVID. And I remember in that time I was living in London and I was of course like sharing apartments, and in London it's very small apartments and you need to really squeeze in with a lot of people. And COVID time was, I work in digital marketing, so there was just a boom for everybody to launch and sell only online. So I was overworking like 12 hours a day, just sitting the whole day. And I felt so stressed and I really wanted to find a release for me. I actually don't remember how I said, okay, let's start with yoga. I think I was initiated a little bit slower from one of my manager, that he was telling me like that he was into this practice and whatever. One time he actually made a very cool team building event and he brought us to hot yoga. Like everybody, that was a bit too much. You know, first time most of the team was just mad.
As the first yoga class, that was difficult.
But there was like, okay, maybe that was the recall for me when I was then sitting at home every day, 12 hours, and say, okay, let's try with yoga. So I started waking up early before everybody else so that I could have a bit of space and time for me, and practicing with online training of one of the girls that I liked, Sarah Beth Yoga. It's the girl that I used to follow. She has a very nice program, and that's also how I started, like, you know, with that stress, and just as you, like, feeling that anxiety of needing to be working on every day on 12 hours. That was my little time to really get on peace.
That's lovely. Yeah, I think as well, you hear everybody say about meditation. And at the time I was like, I just don't understand, what do you mean meditation? And like now I know that meditation is just calming your thoughts and stilling your mind, where it used to just be this mythical thing where I was like, I can never sit down and just not do anything. I used to really struggle with this. So finding the physical practice and merging that with meditation. So even just sitting, you know, 5 minutes at the beginning, 5 minutes at the end, and sitting with that feeling in Shavasana, for example, I find that so important. After you've taken your body through the physical practice, I was actually reading something this morning that said after 18 minutes of yoga, cortisol production in your body, so cortisol that causes stress, is released with stress, stops in your body. So this is why after yoga, even just the half an hour practice, you feel so good. And allowing yourself to relax after the practice in Shavasana, I think is very, very important as well.
Yeah, sometimes, you know what happened to me? during the shavasana, I basically almost come into a phase of half sleep. You know, I'm there, I sort of ear around, but my brain is just like completely relaxed.
Exactly. I feel like there's no greater moment of zen than when you're in shavasana for sure. And yeah, I've definitely been in classes where I've fallen asleep or even heard like people snoring, which is nice, you know, especially as a teacher, you're like, okay, they are so relaxed that they can just fall asleep, which is so good.
Totally. And how do you feel like you were just would like to elaborate a little bit more on how you feel after the practice? Because I think for anybody that potentially is listening is like, okay, what can I expect? Because if I've never done it, or if I actually started, and or even if I'm already doing this practice, but how am I supposed to feel? Like, how can I use this to really rebalance myself? And both of us, like, we've been moving around, and really also the way that we approached in the beginning the practice really shows like that anxiety, that stress sort of helped us, but how really we managed to get through what we were going.
I think firstly the important point is that you're not supposed to feel anyway. I think putting the pressure on the fact that you're supposed to feel some way after the practice might hinder how you do feel after the practice. So and also there are like I have a different experience every time I do yoga. Sometimes I find it very, very challenging, especially sitting there at the beginning in meditation. I really struggle to sit still. Sometimes I can go straight into it and be absolutely okay, but it's dependent on the day I've had, the week I've had, if I've slept, etc. I think for anybody that is unsure on what yoga can offer, I think just start. The easiest thing is to start. Go to a class, and if you're nervous about going to a class in person, either bring a friend along who's quite experienced, or practice at home. There are many, many YouTube channels that are really, really, really good to start with. But I think the key as well, everything I hear from people, or you know, people are like, I really want to get into yoga, but I'm just not flexible enough. This is the number one thing I hear from everybody. And I tell them, well, you know, yoga is not about the physical practice. Yoga is a philosophy, and it began to just be the cessation of thoughts, the stillness of your mind. So people would just sit in meditation and call this yoga. Yoga is just something that makes your mind calm down. And
probably also in the moment, right? Because I feel the whole concept is also about how you can balance your body just because you are being present in your body. Because if you're thinking of other things, then of course, like, you would lose the balance of the pose itself, right? So this is a very interesting point, and maybe that's also why there are so many type of yogas actually, depending on what type of inner work also you want to do, I guess.
100%. And the physical practice was only brought into play to help people achieve that stillness of the mind. So as I said, I struggle to sit still sometimes immediately. So doing the half an hour before, the 45 minutes before, just chilling. Sometimes I really, really need this in my body as well. So anybody who wants to try it. Try a few different classes as well, because as you say, there's so many different types of yoga. Vinyasa is the most popular one. This is the one that I teach. And this is more of a flow movement. So movement with breath. The importance on the breath of every time you move using your breath. This also triggers your nervous system to calm down. So I would just recommend to try.
Nice. I also really like the element and the insight that you gave about the 18 minutes, because in the past I always thought, okay, even just 10 minutes are enough. Actually, you know, it's good to kick you off with the habit, I guess, right? But then there is a specific way of going through your feelings if you reach that particular time window. So that's very interesting. And I completely feel you. You know, the moment I was the most stressed in my life. That's where I was also looking to get that release from yoga. I remember also when I moved in Madrid, at some point I had a very difficult moment. I was out after a difficult relationship, I think, and I was going to the practice every day, basically. Wow. And I really believe also, you know, what is interesting that I used to have within the whole period of my little, I would say, breakthrough, my stomach burning and just feeling, you know, that anxiety, even impacting myself from the inside. And then I was going to the yoga class, and in that time frame, I was just releasing the pain, even just potentially really feeling that the pain was gone, at least for the time. And that's why I was always going so regularly and so often, because I was feeling better. I was able to let go of a lot of things. And I think this is also one of the key highlights that I would give to everybody. Like, it really can help. Of course, it's not the treatment, because you need to heal yourself in a way. It's of course a release that you can have. But of course the work needs also to come from the inside, because it's not that you would just go like me at yoga and then everything would go and disappear, right? Yeah. It's a process, it's a journey that you need to go through, where yoga can actually support you.
Yeah, 100%. I think yoga is a form of therapy. And so one of the key things I learned as part of my yoga practice and my qualification was building the area of tolerance. So how much you can tolerate stress. And every time you challenge your body, you challenge yourself, with whether that be with the yoga practice or cold water practice or just going through something challenging, every time you get through that, you're teaching your mind that you can achieve it and you can tolerate it. So every time then you come across the same problem or you come across a stressful situation, you're actually building your area of tolerance, which is so important. And that one really resonated with me, because I could tell from when I started doing yoga to now, like, how much it had improved. I used to be quite short-tempered. I used to really not handle stress well, and I'm not saying that everything's perfect now, of course not, but definitely practicing yoga and incorporating breath work as well, which is, I find, very important. Definitely improved my
That's a very good tip. Like, breath work is do you think there are specific practices that somebody could go and learn how? Because I know from the yoga practices there are also a lot of ways to sort of unlock the body, you know, the movements, and therefore also the breathing exercise is almost a different branch of yoga and releasing.
Yeah, 100%. Again, I'm trying to remember the first time I ever did like my first breathwork class. I think I took this YouTube video, which actually I still do to this day. If I'm feeling quite anxious or I just need it works in opposite ways as well. It can either calm you down or it can give you energy, like depending on what you're wanting from it. But it's called Ancient Tono breath work, and it's basically a circular breath. You may have heard with Wim Hof, for example, he uses a similar sort of breath before he goes into the water to basically prepare his body and calm his nervous system down. Then using this breath work, you activate your vagus nerve, which basically stimulates your rest and relax system in your body.
Very good. Very interesting. I mean, there are quite a few practices, right, that really supporting this. Well, that's actually a lot of information. Okay, so maybe, I don't know, is there any other specific moment or specific memory that you really associate with yoga that you would like to share and you would like to focus on?
Specific memory. I think the first time I cried after a yoga practice. I think when I first started doing yoga, as I said, I wasn't fully connecting my breath with the movement. I wasn't fully connecting the fact that actually doing this physical practice can impact my mind. now that I've learned all that, I used to go, like last year, I finished my yoga practice, my yoga qualifications, and I would definitely say that doing the yoga teaching it felt like a form of therapy for me.
Oh, wow.
And for the others there, like we all learned so much from each other. We all, felt something and released something as well, which was so lovely. One part actually, I went to a yoga class. So I was telling you before about a difficult relationship I had. This difficult relationship ended way back when, and very badly. Like we cut off all contact. We did not speak to each other. Like we blocked all communication basically. And I still had some level of like anger I hadn't fully released or got closure from it. And this was probably still maybe like a year after the relationship had ended. And we were in the same city. Like I would be nervous about coming across him all the time, which I used to have severe anxiety about. Or like I used to wake up having nightmares about it, or I would avoid certain places because I would be too scared to bump into him. And I remember there was this one yoga class that was all about like hips, and everybody says that releasing your hip muscles and doing a lot of hip strengthening stretches releases trauma from the body. I left that class in absolute tears, and all I thought was, I need to contact this person. Like that was literally like, I felt it, I had to do it. And then after this, I contacted him. This was the first contact within like probably a year, maybe a year and a half. And I felt so much relief. Like he replied, we agreed to meet up with each other. And basically we just had a conversation about how we both felt. He apologized for things we had a mutual sort of apology, which was really nice. And it did enable me to basically have closure and released all the anxiety I had about ever seeing him. It was actually a really special moment because I didn't think that I would ever be able to overcome that, to be honest.
Very good, very nice. I think for me, I would say a couple of very good highlights. I also connect with you because in the moment that I had my breakthrough here in Madrid was also because of some emotional issues that I was going through, and I really feel that within that time, and this is a little bit of a memory, like I was always rushing to go to my yoga because that's what the moment where I was feeling good and releasing this anxiety. So again, like really connected, and I feel I would agree that most of the time, sort of yoga it takes you for the reason of you want to release some sort of stress, which is in your day-to-day life, which then you can sort of go through the process of releasing it. So this is also a bit of your story, a bit of my story. And again, then yoga, I feel, should be a practice that also goes associated with other things, right? Because of course, alone it wouldn't be the main the only way of overcome things, but I definitely would say it's a huge help, actually.
A huge help, I agree. I think it's just, as we say, like closing your mind down and enabling you to process your thoughts. I think that's the most important thing. I think sometimes we rush through our day and maybe don't regulate our emotions very well. We're speaking to so many different people, we're doing so many different things, and then we never really get the chance to just kind of sit with our own emotions and really tune into how we feel. I think after a yoga practice, I always have a rush of emotions, and a lot of the time it's a lot of gratitude. Like when I've taught a class, I always feel like so happy afterwards. But sometimes, it's a mix of emotions that you might feel like upset about the situation, or however you may feel. I also find that journaling really helps as well. Because having that all of that in your head is really difficult. So journaling just helps to process it.
I would say this is one of the tips that we can also give to the audience. I also personally love journaling. So I really recommend anybody just to go through and to write and put in paper the thoughts and the feeling, because that's how you can really elaborate it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And I think journaling as well, like meditation, is kind of like one of those mythical things of how do I start doing this? Like surely there's a special way to do this. Honestly, I just write so much like awful stuff that I have no idea that I never read it again, but it just feels good, the fact that you're writing it down.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just do a mind map of like, okay, like if I've got like a huge to-do list, I'll just do a mind map and get it out of my head. It just helps me feel less overwhelmed.
Yeah. And I also believe that unlocks almost the subconscious mind thoughts, right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes while you're writing, you actually realize things because they are potentially so deep within your subconscious that you're not even putting the focus there, but when you're able to externate them through the writing and the text, that's gonna be a help also for releasing it.
100%. And I also find the fact of writing something down gives you the moment of, okay, is this a real worry? Is this a real concern? Or is this something my mind is making up? Like our brains are taught and trained from way back when we were made to always think of the negative. So we'll always think more negatively than positively. So just challenging your brain and your thoughts sometimes is key.
Yeah. I speak a lot always about the limiting beliefs that are really eradicated within your brain, right? So this is, but I think actually we could have another.
Yeah, I love neuroscience, so I'm reading a lot of neuroscience books right now. So yeah.
So we will let the audience pending with the other podcast.
With the other points, yeah. Okay, we'll go back to yoga. I mean, without yoga, like there's so many things that I wouldn't have found out about myself, about other people, about why people act certain ways, about everything. I think yoga opened up so many doors for me, and I think it's been a huge opportunity.
I love it. Oh, that was very, very full of information. I really feel like, even almost this was a yoga practice. Like,
Releasing a lot of emotion, a lot of...
I love it. So, do you have any last tip or any last highlight that you would like to share?
Last tip is, as I say, just start. Even if it's, you want to try it, try different classes, go onto YouTube, try a few classes, speak to friends that might do yoga, tag along with them. I think it is overwhelming to go to your first class to begin with, but try a few and see how you get on. I think there is a yoga practice out there for everybody.
Super, I love it. All right, so I hope you enjoyed the conversation, because honestly there is so much now that you need to sort of process also from this speech. Again, like the main topic and the main inspiration was to help you and to guide any sort of development and way to share any tip for releasing stress and rebalance yourself on your day-to-day life just by using the yoga practice. So we really hope that this is gonna be the goal of the conversation, and I would really love to thank you for sharing all of this, because honestly it has been a great
Of course. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you all.
Super, thank you.